Did you know 80% of minority entrepreneurs' businesses fail within the first 18 months, often due to systemic barriers like lack of access to funding, limited mentorship opportunities, and structural inequalities? However, these numbers don't tell the full story. By addressing these myths and understanding the facts, we can unlock real opportunities for success and resilience in our communities. Let's explore the truth behind the numbers and how we can collectively support Black and minority business owners. It's time to change the narrative.
All right, so tell me a little bit about what made you decide to build food trucks, because that's a good story to begin with.
Yes. So I initially started my food truck in 2012 out of Orlando. First, it was selling food. Reason I got started with selling food is I used to DJ back in the day, which put me in the scene of throwing parties and people who were in that space, which at all of these events, there was somebody outside selling food. There'd always be a long line. Typically, if I was out there with my friends, I'd buy a slab of ribs. We'd break down the slab of ribs on the way home. One day I decided to go out. Nobody wanted to go out, so I went out on my own. The guy that we usually buy food from, I sat with him at 9 o'clock. When I sat with him, in the first hour, there was 20 people that came and bought chicken plates. So $10 a piece, 20 people, that's $200. In the evening, it's usually about 60 to 80 people. So in my mind, I said, this guy's doing about $1,000 a day. I said, this is something that I could do. So I called my friends. I said, hey, I want to do this thing. It's a great idea. It's money that we could have to buy bottles, hang out in the club, because we all had jobs. Every one of them said no. So I called my mother, who was in the islands on vacation at the time, and I said, hey, I remember you said you wanted to do catering. Here's an opportunity. So it took me 30 minutes of convincing her. And when she said yes, the very next day I went out and bought a barbecue grill. I ordered a tent from online. And then 2 weeks later, we had our first event. So first event, I called some friends who were doing a party. We went on our first night, we made 180. Second night, we made 100. Third night, we made 80. Fourth night, we got chased away from the spot. That's when I realized there was a lot of ins and outs politics when it came to the food truck and being licensed. And you have to go through these steps. So we started going through the steps. About 2 months in, I reached out to DJ Slim, which is a big DJ in Orlando. He would do the networking conference. And then out the gate, gave me my first real shot. So they usually do like holiday parties. So they had a Halloween party. Came out for that. We did $500 that night. The very next night, or the same night, somebody said, hey, this is good food. We're having an event tomorrow. You should come out to that. So we went to that at the ballroom downtown. Used to be Club Paris. And we did $400 that night. So we made $1,000 for the weekend. After that, I said, this is something that I wanted to start taking seriously. And what was good is 3 months into it, we landed Firestone, which is one of the biggest clubs in Orlando. All of the old heads, the people who were doing this stuff, couldn't understand how somebody new and fresh got in there, but it's a work ethic.
So then it leads you to starting this business, seeing how you could build it up, making the money, buying the truck, and then what happens?
At that point in time, first start. So the first person in Athens that gave me the ability to build their food truck was Shatoya Brown.
The name sounds familiar. What kind of business she got?
She does catering. They do a lot of stuff around here, but festivals and events, and they go out and they do lunches. So Amazon and different places like those. So that was the first truck that allowed me to build their food truck out of here. Then after that, it was a business called Taza. Grayson, they're now in North Carolina. We built out their truck. After that, it kind of just was rolling. I would buy trucks out of the money that I was making in, and I would build them out and putting them online to see who was interested in purchasing.
How long does it take you to build one of these trucks?
So in general, it takes about 45 to 60 days, which is actually rather quick. Most companies will take about 3 months to build. Although we're a smaller business, we do have a formula that works, so we're able to move a lot quicker.
Okay. What advice would you give anybody out there that, you do mentor other
Correct.
people? And from my understanding, it's been very beneficial. So what is some advice that you would give others out here that maybe want to get into the food industry or just want to start as an entrepreneur or even do what you do?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is it starts with the idea. A lot of times, like I mentioned before, the vision came to me. Oftentimes when we get the vision, we reach out to the people closest to us. those people will either make or break your idea. So, like I said, my friends, they said, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. They made it sound like it was terrible, but that was the changing point in my whole life. And so I think a lot of times when we get the vision, we need to hold on to that. If you feel like you got the vision and you feel passionate about it, the vision was yours. Everybody else isn't going to see it. So you need to act on that. A lot of times we take the creative energy or the creative burst that we get in that time to go ahead and plan. That's the perfect time to have an action. So when we sit down and like, oh, I'm going to write out how we're going to do this, then you wrote it out and that energy is gone now. 2-3 days later, you're like, well, I mean, I wrote this out, but I don't think that this is going to be good. But if in that moment we say we're going to do something, if you want to start a YouTube channel, start the channel that day. Open it up, apply, sign up. You know what I'm saying? If you want to sell food, post a plate that you made. You know what I'm saying? See if anybody wants to buy it. Whatever it is that you want to do, you start it. That's the first step. Once you start it, then from there you don't know what can happen, but at least you've done something. We'll sit back and watch people online or people out there doing what we want to do, and we'll say they're not even doing a good job. But we never even started to even know what it takes to even do it. And so I think that once we start, we then have an idea. The second thing I would say is, as soon as you're able to, find somebody who's in your field who's doing what you do. It took me a very long time to understand that. Very, 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 very long time for me to understand that. So years of trial and error. And there is a thing, known as failing upwards. We could fail at something, but it just works. And so a lot of times we think we're doing it right, but in actuality, we are not doing it right at all. And then we wonder why one month is good and the other month isn't, or why one year did so well and then the other year doesn't do as good. And so it takes the time of you learning your processes, always going through further education with yourself. And like I said, if you can and are in a position to, find a mentor or pay for a mentor who is in your space, who does what you do, who has gone through all of the problems so you don't have to go through them. The beauty of food truck building, which I learned very early, is people buy food trucks from wherever they know food trucks come from because it's such a niche. So ironically, I'm here in Athens and I have not built the majority of the food trucks in Athens, which to me is somewhat puzzling because when you're in such a small place, when somebody does something, everybody kind of knows. So I've always thought, why is it that I haven't built the majority of the trucks in town? And then what I had to realize is, oftentimes we have to check on our own selves. Am I doing everything? Instead of blaming other people first, I have to first look inward to see, what am I doing? Am I promoting properly? Am I going out and talking to people? Am I doing what it is that I need to do for people to know that I even exist? You see what I'm saying? And so within that, the beauty of my space, like I said, because I know that we can get stuff from outwards, I have a lot of clients who come from all over the US. So I can live here and work here and do everything here, but a lot of my business doesn't come from here. So this truck is going to Augusta. The other truck that we looked at is going to Fort Worth, Indiana. We've done stuff for people in Alabama, South Carolina. We've sent the truck to St. Louis, Missouri. We've done stuff for people in Denver. I also will travel to do work now that we have an audience online. So I'll do, through my TikTok, I get a lot of people that call. So we went down to Destin earlier last year.
Oh, I love
2 or 3
Destin.
times to Destin, which was able to do work and business,
Oh, I love
or business and pleasure,
Right.
all in the same trip. Through that, I've gone to Destin and I've gone to other states to just do the work that I do, which helps grow the audience. And as well, it gives us a beta into learning what areas are actually looking for our type of services and how we can cater to that. If I'm in a space and something doesn't work, I'm not going to sit there and try to fight in that space. I'm just going to find the next place who wants it. There's somebody out here who wants my services. There's somebody out here who appreciates what I do. There's somebody out here who's willing to pay what I'm asking for what I do, because I know what I'm doing and I provide a good product. So because of that, I look outwards everywhere. So social media is one of the things that we use. Word of mouth referrals is another thing. Most of the business is word of mouth, but the social media does carry out further. There's people that I've met in other states that have called me because of some work that I did for somebody's food truck. I had a friend that went to Wisconsin and she went to a food truck. She was like, I need to get you in touch with my friend. And she put the number in his phone and my name popped up.
Oh, wow.
because he bought a truck. The truck that he had, he bought from me.
So where can people find you?
You can find me online, social media. Food Truck Builders A to Z is the name of the business. We're on Google. We're actually in the process of doing a whole revamp. So redoing the website. I'm redoing the branding, how we are perceived. I'm redoing how we show up in the community, community engagement, partnering with other organizations, doing my fair share of giving back, to raise awareness into who we are and where we can grow. One of the things that I've seen, that I take and I hold on to, that I recently heard: be, do, have method. Be a little, do a little, have a little. Be a lot, do a lot, have a lot. They all work in hand. We want to have things, but we don't want to do the work. But in order to do the work, we need to know who we are and why we're doing the work. That's the be. So as long as we know who we want to be, it's going to show up in the work that we do, and then it's going to show up in the things that we have.
Being an entrepreneur can be a difficult yet an inspiring journey, and I know that it's not for everyone. But if you desire to own your own business, I want to encourage you to never give up on your dreams. Never give up on your dreams, because through perseverance and commitment, you can turn your dreams into reality. And for everyone else that is watching this video wondering, what can I do? What can I do to help a Black or minority business owner shop Black? Spend your dollars with Black minority-owned business owners, and that includes women, because there's a lot of women out here that needs your support, and we fall under the minority umbrella. Did you know that? Yes, we do. Remember, it is time to change the narrative, and you can help us do that by supporting Black and minority business owners.